coffee there, Josh.
Oh,
nice one.
Oh.
Gee, you're coordinated, aren't you?
Yeah, don't worry, don't be alarmed.
Oops.
Wow. Well, that was a bit more power than I expected.
A lot more. Actually, speaking of more power than you expected,
Yeah.
it's kind of like what happened to Rach, eh?
Now, you're talking about what happened last week.
Yeah, just before Easter camp. You know how she was, I don't know what she was doing, but she rolled her ankle, eh? And it was
That's right.
really sore.
She did, yeah.
Yeah, she went to the hospital and they said she had torn ligaments, bro. Man, that's major. That's weeks of healing and physio visits and stuff like that. She had it strapped. She went home on crutches.
Yeah.
And she called us to pray. Remember?
Yeah. But it was, just a couple of days before Easter camp.
Yeah.
We're all primed up to go, and then suddenly this happens.
I know.
I get this text, and I'm like, what are we going to do?
It was so frustrating.
We need her there.
Yeah. Yeah, so she called us all to pray, and we're all praying for her to be healed, and we've done that before, and you kind of, we'll pray for her to be healed, but not really sure what we expect.
Yeah.
But remember how the next morning, completely fine.
I know.
So it was much more powerful than I was expecting.
So I prayed at youth that night for her.
Yeah.
And you prayed for her as well.
Yeah, I prayed specifically that the next morning she'd have no pain and complete freedom of movement. Amazing.
And then what happened the next morning?
She had freedom of movement, no pain. And she went through the whole camp without her crutches.
Actually,
it was fine.
That's right, because it was the Wednesday she rolled her ankle.
Yeah.
No, it must have been the Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then the Wednesday, we're going down to do all the setup.
Yeah.
And we're loading couches and stuff. And then there she was.
Yeah.
Turned up. Was loading couches on the trailer.
So prayer is much more powerful than we ever expect.
Yeah, and I think, we do pray these prayers, hoping that God is going to heal people. But when we actually do see people healed, it's just like, wow, that's more power than we expected.
Much more power than we expected.
All right. I'll tell you what, it kind of reminds me of that song, actually.
Which song's that?
It's like it goes, my God cares too
you're not singing
much
again.
to say.
Stop!
Every day.
Ow.
So I get down and pray. And
I agree with you, but nothing's worth this. Stop it!
But it's that thing though, where, we get down to pray, and then help is on its way.
It is.
And often, it's more power than we expected.
Much more power than we expected.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of the story you told me about Kerry. What was that story again?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, there's this time when, so we're going through college, and we've hardly got any income coming in. And there were several times, actually, where we were like, man, what are we going to do? We can't make rent this week.
Stressful.
And so we said, all we can do is pray. So we'd pray. And then this one time, it was awesome. Like, we turned up at church on that Sunday, having, prayed, just submitting our finances to God. And then this guy comes up to us from church and hands us this envelope.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, thanks a lot. I open it up, and it's a check for $10,000.
$10,000?
Straight up.
Wow, that's more powerful than you were expecting.
Way more power than I expected.
Wow.
It was crazy. And it turns out they had just come into quite a big inheritance.
Yeah.
And he was praying as well about who should we be blessing in the church.
That's amazing.
And there was several people. And so for us that was like, wow, God, you are totally looking after us.
So what are we learning here, Josh? I think we're learning that prayer is an incredibly powerful weapon for us as Christians, eh?
Totally. The most powerful, I'd say.
And it's usually much more powerful than we're expecting.
Way more power than we expect. Yeah. Yeah.